Hi and welcome to the screencast. Today I'm going to talk about how you use the desktop environment, how you can execute commands in the command prompt, how you can write and run a script, and how you can get help on functions. In the console window I can type in expressions and R will execute them immediately. So for example I could type in 5 plus 7 and press enter, and then R would show me the result, which is 12. The number 1 in the square bracket in front of the result is an indication of the size of the output. In this case it's just a single number, so it says 1. I can also type in more complicated expressions like 2 squared plus 3 squared and press enter and get the result of that calculation. If I want to make more complicated code, I would want to write that in an editor where I can save the results. So I'll go to the editor, which is up here, and now I'll create a small script. So in my script I first define a variable called a and assign the value 2. Then I'll define a variable called b and assign the value 3. And finally I will define a variable called c and assign the value of a squared plus b squared. Once I've written my script, I can save the file by pressing Ctrl S or pressing the save icon, and I'll save it in a script called myscript.r. So now my file has been saved and I can load that up next time. To run my script I simply press the source button or the Ctrl Shift S command. When I press source, I can see in my console window that my script has been run, and in this environment window I can see that my variables a, b and c have been created with the correct values. Now I've written a slightly longer script that contains 5 lines of code, and often when you're developing a script you're interested in running a small part of the script to see what happens, and that's quite easy to do. You simply mark the lines of code that you're interested in running using either the mouse or the keyboard, and then press Ctrl Enter. That corresponds to copy-pasting the code into the console window and running it. And then you can move on and mark the next bit of the code and press Ctrl Enter again. Of course you could also mark all of the code and press Ctrl Enter, but that just corresponds to running the whole file. If you want help on a function in R, you can simply type help and the name of the function in parentheses and single quotes. So for example, to get help on the cosine function you would type help cos and press enter. Now the help for this function will pop up over here in the help viewer, and you can scroll down and read about the function and how to use it. If you know a function that you want to use and you just want to look up how to call it, how the arguments should be set, this is a good way to do that. But if you don't know what function to use, it's a good idea to look for it using Google or the R documentation you can find online.